This is for my bail bondsman in Oakland. Because in 1973, when I was fighting a case against the U.S. government, I wanted to have my arrest record. If I had my arrest record, it would show by its pattern, right, the behavior of the police to us. And the government refused to give it to me. I want you to understand about Oakland now. Oakland at that time was number 2 in the United States in surveillance and everything, after the FBI. If you remember when you was watching that movie Panther, and the FBI was hinting to the police, do this, do that, and they looked up and the FBI just came in to Oakland and took over their office and everything. That part is basically true. The intelligence network in Oakland was only, in those days, second to the FBI. At that time, I was very active there. There was 2 big active communities. One, the Black Panther community, and the other one was ours. Our organization. Very active. Actually, most people thought it was more effective in the community. East Oakland Enterprises than the Panthers was, because definitely in Oakland we was more popular than the Black Panther Party. Not outside, the world knew about the party. The world didn't know about us. That's kind of what we got going on right now. There's something been going on in Oakland and DC for a long time, and nobody knew anything about it, or they cut off the information, the flow of information outside, and so the police could do anything they wanted to us over a long period of time. And the first thing I think people will ask, how did you let this go on so long? Well, if you were to read revolutionary literature, you would read about encirclement and suppression. The enemy always tried to encircle the good guys, the people, the revolutionary, encircle them, surround them, and suppress them. Y'all was just talking a few minutes ago about the helicopters moving and having a view down on the people, and the people are not trained. The people that are out here right now, June 1st, May 31st, May 30th, they're not trained demonstrators. The only ones trained out there are the police and the guys spray painting everything and getting around on them scooters and setting fire to different things. They're doing that on purpose. The people have a right to demonstrate. The people have a right to show their disgust at what happened. In fact, you can't watch the video. I technically don't like to watch it myself because there's no reason for it. It's unreasonable. It's unfeeling, insanity. And a lot of people don't know there's 2 things that happen. One, the guy called out for his mother. You got to remember, if you've been around killing and everything, now in the old days, in riots and people getting close to death, black people would cuss you out, and white boys would call on their mama, because their mind go just before death. It's just natural. They go back to where they was most comfortable, and that was in their mother's arms, whether it's conscious or unconscious. So a lot of times, you watch war films, a lot of people, they call on their mother. Just so that means he was close to death then. The other thing, his stomach was hurting. He kept saying, my stomach is hurting. That means he's getting ready to have his last bowel movement. You know, when you die, right? This is what's happening. This is happening in front of everybody. They don't know what's going on. This is what's happening. So for me, I had some experience, and I know what's going on. I don't want to see it. The man's knee, he's got his hands in his pocket, and he ain't thinking about nothing but not moving his neck, his foot off that brother's neck. So the people have a right to be upset. And it's not that we haven't been dealing with this for a while. I mean, 170-something years of so-called freedom, and they haven't solved the race problem yet. The police brutality, Ku Klux Klan type, that's who they are. A lot of Americans don't even believe that somebody would go to work hoping that something can happen where I can kill me a black person. They don't believe that. You know why? They've never been arrested before. And since they haven't been under the influence of the police, now here's what I'm showing you. I don't even know how many arrests this is, but here's several pages of arrest. This is arrests and court dates. This is from the bail bondman. Remember, the government won't give me this stuff. So I said, who else has all that information? My bail bondsman. He got a record of all that. First of all of these pages, I just tell you the truth, there's nobody been arrested that much in Oakland or here. Why? They wouldn't have the money to get out that much. See, I would go in, and I was rich. I'd get arrested, go right out. In 1970, I was arrested on April Fool's Day. April 1st. I was arrested three times in one day. Three times in one day. Nobody could do that because nobody would stay in that environment long enough to go through all of that. But I did. Nobody would put up with what I'm going to show you in a minute. Right? Nobody would stay put up with all of that over a long period of years. This has happened over the years. So it's a reason for this waiting for a while. So any one of you that gets to your legal whoever you're going to bring this to, you'll have plenty to work with. All they have to do is type up my name, and they'll see a lot of the stuff. My slave name, of course. But I want to show you a few things that'll get you warmed up a little bit. This is October 2015. Imam Musa assaulted in Oakland, California. That mean this is I was assaulted in the masjid. I was arrested. And in this case, this might have been just the case of where we're at the masjid. Psychological guerrilla warfare. I tell them we're going to have a lot of fun next Juma. Cracker Jacks, cotton candy, and all that. I'm just saying that. And then here they come. Mukhtar comes with a whole organization of people, and they want to. I think y'all saw some of it on the video, right? Where it's a group of people that I'm saying at the door, you can't come in, and they bum rushing the masjid. Okay. They come in. And actually, technically, they push me to the side, basically. And Mukhtar's doing most of the talking. Most people wouldn't have took that. But you got to remember, the people that we were at that time, and we are definitely now the last independent masjid, African American masjid in the United States that is standing up for the rights of the people and standing up for ourselves. So remember the government's position. Agent provocateurs provoke you to move. Provoke you to do something, right? Provoke you to react. That's where reactionary comes from. Instead of being focused and dynamic, you react to what they do to you. That's where shaping and hurting comes from. It comes from people, especially the Muslims. They react to what the people do. The government. So the government do a little of this, they react. Government do that, they react. That's what we call shaping and hurting. They're shaping their behavior. They do a little bit of this, do a little bit of this, do a little bit of that, do a little bit of that. They're shaping their behavior, and then hurting. They're hurting right down where they want. We call it shaping and hurting. Right. When those helicopters fly around, they have a view down on top of you. If you have skill, if you have people around, y'all communicate, your walkie-talkies and all of that, you can handle yourself. But if you have a spontaneous demonstration where people are mobilized. Now you have to remember. There's a difference between mobilization and organization. They're close, but they're different. The ability to mobilize people is to bring them together. But the ability to organize them is to give them focus and reason for being there, and direction and leadership and all of those things. Those are the most important things. Not mobilization, but organization. So, we've always stood for both things: mobilization, bringing the people together, and organization, having the people unifying their ideas, concepts, and having us move in a certain direction. So in this day, technically, I'm assaulted at the masjid in Oakland. That's exactly what happened. June 3rd, 2014. Imam Musa facing death threats, facing attacks and death threats. Now, this is not no secret. It's in Crescent International. I asked Zafar, do people know what's going on? He said, these went viral. That's why, must have been why he stopped. Well, can you imagine if they know all of this is going on, why they would stop printing the stuff? Okay. In September 2014, I was arrested in the masjid for trespassing. The only thing here, we have the deed, Masjid al-Islam, and then my slave name, Clarence Reams. So I paid the taxes on it. So this is a deed to the property. They're arresting me on the property 8 times that I have the deed to. They arrested me 8 times on the property that the dear brother has the deed to. Now, this is not a big secret. It's a secret here in America, but here's the Islamic invitation in Turkey. They know about it in Turkey. I was on radio programs in South Africa, Voice of the Cape and all of them. And everybody knew about it out there. Now, here's another one. uh, Imam Abdul Alim Musa receives death threats. This is the time when, the people that were causing the trouble, they could catch up with me anytime they want. If I went downtown to pay the taxes, they would follow me down there and pay them. And watch me pay them. One time they asked me, do you want us to pay the taxes? You want to pay them? I said, yeah, go ahead and pay them. I said, you pay them. No, we'll wait next time. The Negroes is crazy. Now, armed intruders attacked Masjid al-Islam in Oakland. This is August 22nd. This was a very active day, too. When I have a lot of friends at this time. I have my son and a couple of his homeboys. They're there. I have Diamond Jim. He's standing right there. And his job, you just watching. That's, all you're doing is watching. So he's standing there on the side of the masjid. Okay, they come. I'm standing in the doorway. A military move. I'm standing in the doorway with the speaker, the speakers we have, a little portable speaker. And the Arab Taliban looking, not Taliban looking, what's the ones we are? Huh? ISIS looking. Big fluffy beard and all that. I said, yeah. The reason I was happy because I said that's the new look for the feds now, for the police. They Arabs. And they come, and first of all, the guy snatches the speaker. No, first he pulls the plug. So I can speak, but I just in voice. Then he pulls back. Then another one come in, and then the one over here is active. One of my son's friends body slams one of them, and his gun fall out. Now remember, they all out there like this, and they're standing in a trained police position. This is a military move. Mukhtar has a thobe on with a pocket in the side, and the poor guy is trying to get to his gun. Mukhtar, and I'm walking up on him, and like the thobe with a pocket in the side, but it's got a slit in it, and you can stick your hand through the slit. He has his gun, of course. He's very well trained with pistols, but because we sent him to Colorado 2 years in a row for gun handling and all that. So he can click the thing. That's what they train him to do. And then when he would mention the Muslims, he would forget, and the bad guys. I said, that's what the white folks teaching him up there. He's using their language. But him and what's the name next to it, that's no problem. So, no, now you got to imagine now. Let's just go a little far ahead. All of this is going on at Jummah time in front of the masjid. The police come and they block the street in a way that the guys causing the trouble can get away. They all run away. And the ladies say, why, right up on me, why they do that and let all them boys get away, So, in other words, and then a policewoman come in the car. Look, nobody came up and asked about nothing. They snatched my phone, you know what I mean, and they was out to be destructive. Anyway, that was, I guess, on August 22nd. Yeah, August 22nd. it was really 6. Did he really have 6? No, he did. 6 is, because I know his daughter is in Dubai somewhere, and she's always giving a report. Now, I want to give you a little view of what's going on, too. Why would they do all of this stuff? Revolution from Egypt to the Americas, right? It has Oakland and the American Islamic Revolution. Can you see there? Oakland and the American Islamic Revolution. Oakland and the American Islamic Revolution. This is Imam Jamil Al-Amin, H. Rap Brown. This is Imam Luqman. Imam Luqman was martyred in Detroit in about 2009. This is Imam Jamil Al-Amin. He's been in prison now for 20 years. On March 16th, it was 20 years. This is a picture of me right here at the bottom. We didn't make this. This is not a flyer. We got it off the internet. You know what that means? Your homeboy number 1 is in prison for the rest of his life. We know he ain't killed nobody because the police said, right? I looked into his eyes. The police supposed got shot. And his eyes was gray. You can just look and see. You don't have to be blind to see. And Imam Jamil supposedly was shot. You can see Imam Jamil is light-skinned. If he was shot, even if he had a bulletproof vest on and he shot point blank, he got a bruise, maybe a couple broken ribs, right? Everybody knows that. Nothing like that. He don't have no bruises when he was arrested. He don't have nothing. It can't be him, but he's in prison anyway. He's in prison anyway because of many things. Number 1, they put a gag order on the case. Number 2, they have him surrounded anyway. And the next thing is that the press has a field day, ex-Black Panther, ex this, that, and other. So when the jury comes in, they already got a view of him. But now, they put a gag order on Imam Jamil. Well, his people can't say nothing about it. So it's quiet, 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 right? How can they do all this to me? Look at here. Let me show you something now so you don't think nobody's crazy. This is a picture of dear Imam Musa, the nicest guy in town, with the fat busted off his head. Let me tell you now, can you see these ropes? They look like bubbles. Can you see that? This is bubbles, man, on top of my head. Blood bubbles. This is November the 4th. Is that 2018? 2018. I go to the hospital in Oakland, Highland, get patched up. They don't do nothing serious. They even write me a letter. I'll pull it up. We heard that you've been a victim of violence, and we can help you with money and counseling. They sent me a letter. The night this attack, I gave them Mukhtar's name, Khadijah's name, and everything, right? I said, they did that. The police. I got the paperwork that said it. Yeah, nothing happened. When I called the police the next day or so, and remember I had a phone record, so the phone record will tell you whether you called who you talking to. You call the police. Yeah, this happened last night. I want to follow up on da-da-da-da-da. Okay, very well. They ain't said nothing, and they ain't did nothing. But they have on the video, didn't y'all tell me that y'all had a video of them coming up to the door and say, yeah, there he is in there sitting down? Because they looking through the hole in the door. Yeah. And that's where I was. I was in there sitting down. And some of the videos have the time, Oakland, right? Look at here, man. It's unbelievable. Police ain't said nothing. I drive back to D.C., then I drive back to Arizona for a program, and on the way back, the stuff started working. And I couldn't hold no coffee, you know what I mean? But I got on back and I said, well, I'll get over it in a day or so, you know. And I got in the bathtub and couldn't get out. So my daughter helped me out. She said, we're going to have to take you to the hospital. Went down there to GW. They kept me a few weeks, whatever it was. They cut my brain open, and you can see all the ridges. You go in, Negroes got ridges all in their head like that. These are ridges, right? That means, I don't know what they put up there, but I was busted in the head, and look at here. One of the brothers that's here now came to visit me, and I was sitting there, and I didn't say but one word. I don't know, I think it was optimism. You know why I only said one word? Because it was the only thing I could say. Can you imagine that when they say nigga, I'm gonna knock your brains out? Can you imagine? That is really possible? You can brutalize somebody till they can't remember anything. Before you get out of the hospital, you're sitting there, and they come in every day, and they ask you, what day is this? And then you think, what I did after a few days, I got used to looking at the board. You know, the board has the day, and it has the name, and it was GW Hospital, you know, and I could get that right because I'm looking at it. But what's your name? Boy, can you imagine you used to have to sit there and then they just scratch, well, not today. We ain't letting you go today. They don't say that, but that's what they're doing. You got to have a certain amount of days. And this recovery, walking you around in the hospital, can you imagine that to walk from here to the end of the masjid and back can be a long way when you got your brains busted out? It's okay. They said nothing about it. To this day, and now we passed out stuff with all of this, so everybody knows about this stuff. It ain't nobody that don't know about all of this. Yeah, we passed out. I have another one, but I don't want to be wasting too much time. So here's this. This really happened. So we want y'all people who are demonstrating to understand that there's people, basically y'all are amateurs in this stuff, because there's people that's being, even in D.C., we've been doing this stuff for years. We've been doing these demonstrations and what have you for such a long time that, let me see if I can find one or two here. We've been technically doing demonstrations in D.C. for 30 years. We've been managing demonstrations. We've been predicting, and we've been forecasting. We've been doing everything that would get you ready for the things that the community is going through right now. Here's some of the old stuff. And this might be one of the reasons that a lot of this is happening. This is a newspaper from Iran. This is the Imam Khomeini. This is old. But you see here, who is this guy? This is the leader of Palestinians, Sudanese, Pakistanis. and the one representing the United States, Muslims in the United States, is yours truly. Okay? Here's a picture with the Rahbar. There's no other American that I even know that ever even, this is the so-called supreme leader and da-da-da-da-da. He's a bad guy, probably considered the worst man in the world, nicest guy I know. Here's dear Rouhani, President Rouhani. So all the presidents, here's one that they love to hate. President Ahmadinejad. Now, suppose this president that they hate, when I got attacked, suppose he tweets a message. Did you ever see the tweet? He tweeted, Badi Imam, well, you can protect such and such, but you can't protect your own citizens. That's what he said about me. The night I got an operation, I was almost drugged. I got a call from Iran. And my brother was
actually a tweet he sent out in reference to George Floyd.
Oh yeah, okay. The scheme of the world powers is to cause disunity in order to keep all societies under control. The killing of George Floyd was deeply disturbing and upsetting, and is the result of the current world order, which we all must unite against. So, yeah, President Ahmadinejad, when I came back, I had my phone and I had a picture with him. Huh?
You didn't read the last.
What did it say? What is it?
Pull the trigger, nigga.
Pull the trigger, kill a nigga. He's a hero. They got the point. Hey, no, they know everybody knows what's going on there. I'll divert just a minute. Inside of the United States and the leadership is a colossal failure. We prayed for all of this, but something that's surreal is when you expect something to happen, you pray for it to happen, and it happens right in front of your face. That is a trip. That's the biggest trip you're going to ever go on, is to expect something to happen, to pray for it to happen, to want it to happen, and then it happens almost word for word like you asked, except more additives. It's a little better. Allah can always sprinkle, little stuff on there for you. Can you imagine what America looks like now? I want y'all to remember. You don't have to worry about anti-fascist groups. You don't have to worry about nobody abusing your demonstration. You are going to, and you're getting full benefit from that inside of the United States. Some of the demonstrators who are white definitely are let's call them agitators, but not all of them. Do you know how many white folks you see in them demonstrations? And you listen to them, and I was listening this morning, they was asking the white lady, well, what about the destruction of the property, and what about the looting? And the white woman said, looting? He said, when you have those scams in New York and Barney Madoff, he said, those are looting. That's looting. They're just going in there. People got insurance. I know that they wouldn't even let them have a store. You don't have no insurance? Well, they can replace that property. You can't replace lives. They can replace property. And you ought to hear I was listening to our Negro lady downtown. She was so mad about looting, it was a shame. And the people say, you didn't have that emotion in your voice about the man getting killed. The world is woke. We saying this now because it's the time. It's the time because the people will see whatever happened, whatever lawyers get involved, whatever system get involved, we got recorded evidence over a period of time. Like they showed 100 disregard for that man's life, they showed the same disregard to put somebody in jail in a building that he has the deed to. 8 times. The last time I just went out to California, I went to jail 4 times. This last period. 4 times. Basically for nothing. I just go out and I paint the building. And remember, I should put the pictures right down there. I'm just going to fix the building up. One time they arrested me. I'm going up on the building. I have somebody with me, and we got that tar stuff like we had, because the roof was leaking a little. You could see that something was going on with the roof. So I'm up there. I'm getting ready to, and here they come. They arrest me for trespassing. 2 times I actually had, because I started carrying a deed in my pocket. And it says, well, he has something with a different date on it. So he don't have no deed. You know. He had went down and got some piece of paper that they gave him. So you got to remember, for him to use this method, the police is studying us and they're telling him what to do. He don't have enough brains to try to deal with the paperwork and all that. He would have did some other dumb fitna. But they tell him, it's illegal, but you go do this, you go do that. This is my dear son. Forget about the little playboy money and stuff like that. But the poor guy got shot 6 or 7 times. Was it 6 times that I forget? He got shot 6 times, close range. And he got stabbed, you know them army knives with the ridges? He got cut with that. There's no report, you know, when the ambulance come pick you up, because they thought it wasn't going to be no paperwork, but he I guess when you get a little panic in you, you start fighting pretty good. He has to do pretty good, because to have 6 slugs in him and be cut 3 times to come through, he may not know it, but it's just, that's a blessing. And no real, not only arteries, but no liver damage, no. Of course, he got, one of them bullets broke his arm. You can see the arm coming out like this. It's coming out and then straight down. That's not the way ours go. It's coming, it's coming way out and down. You know, ballistics and all of that, it's against the law. If I get shot and I go to a doctor, he got to turn me in. Say, the brother came here. And I got to turn him in. If you have bullets in you, I asked the doctor, I was playing like I wasn't paying attention. Italian, kind of heavy-set lady. I said, oh, you did a good job. I said, what did you do with the bullets? Oh, we just threw them away. So, you know evidence. You can't throw bullets away. It's ballistics, that's what they call it, right? You can't throw. What did they do? So, did the police ever come and question him? Absolutely not. They got a police station in the hospital, so my son told me when he was groggy, you know, if you got all them bullet holes in you, they give you a little something to knock you out. They probably morphine or something. So he was a little groggy. And he said, the police asked something, do you want to give a report? He said, a report? I said, I'm trying not to die right now, something, you know, and I don't even know nothing. What are you talking about? Asking me something. In court, don't they ask you, have you taken any medicine the last few days? Are you coherent? Do you know what? Now imagine you've been blown away. You just about, maybe death is right over there and you headed right up close to it, right? And the police, they're not really questioning. They just, is there any report you want to give? That's what my son told me. So boy, these boys is crazy, right? So I want to let y'all know, you nice demonstrators and all of that, y'all are doing good work. May Allah continue to bless you. But it's kind of amateur stuff. We've been doing this stuff all our life. And this, the ability to hold on for years without losing our cool, it means, just like there's a hadith that says, there'll come a time when holding on to your religion will be like holding a hot coal in your hand, right? That's what this is. We did one program, this was Imam Abdul Ali Musa, Trayvon Martin. Y'all remember Trayvon, right? Sure. Now I want you to think how mad Boss Man would be. Here's Nick Grotius from East Oakland, Arkansas, D.C. And y'all can't read this, but definitely if you read Arabic, you can see this word, fitna, or laiti faki. Anybody can see that. That means is a protection against global fitna. The leadership structure that they have in Iran is a protection against global troublemaking, destabilization, trial. And you give a lecture at the University of Tehran in English, they translate it in Arabic, and you can see they got it sections off, sections off. That means that was a point-by-point excellent lecture. This is off the front page of their political newspaper over there. So Boss Man couldn't take it no more, that's all. He said, that's it, I can't take it anymore, right? But they was already doing these little things. The stuff is not new. Police reports, they know anything about it? Here's another one. They all say the same thing. I have 5 of these from the Oakland Police Department. I filed complaints, but I didn't press the issue. You know why? I want them to send these things back over and over again. We researched it and we found that everything was done by procedure. I'm going to move toward a close, but I'll read a few things here. So this is something they had filed in court. It says on November 13th, similarly on the November 13th incident should also be excluded. That's the November 13th incident about an arrest I had in Oakland. First, while the incident has marginal probative value, any probative value is outweighed by the risk of undue prejudice. What is undue prejudice? The jury may hold against the people, the government, Masjid al-Islam or Mr. Mujahid, the fact that the defendant was removed at gunpoint or was accused of having weapons but had none. Now, imagine now, I got all the paperwork so you can take my word. You can see that I didn't have no gun. But now imagine a Negro telling the police. One of the reports said that I had 2 shotguns. I just got there from D.C. What kind of Negro would tell on another Negro, the white police, that this nigga is armed and dangerous? On the brother? Yeah. This is another police report. I have about 5 of them. I was arrested one time while I was talking to the police about the other arrest the other day, and I was filing a report. I said, excuse me, but I got to go because the boss man, on that case, they jumped through the window and everything. OPD was dispatched to the same building as 8208 for reports of criminal threats. They told the people that what I said on the media, y'all remember exactly what I said. I said, Mukhtar and Khadijah are in danger. They're in danger because they have tried and failed. Since they failed, they are now witness to or failed their witnesses to their own failure to entrap me or to provoke me. Now, anybody that's watched spy movies or police movies know that when the Negro is of no more use, that's what the police sent other Negroes hitting all the time. Yeah. I had people almost, still doing them 187s. You know, I know a lot of people from way back. 187 is murder in California. I said, no, we don't do that. I told everybody right on the thing, psychological guerrilla warfare, and we're winning. We wouldn't think of hurting nobody. The proof of that is when they busted me in the head a couple of years later, or right after that, I had to yell the people down. I had to holler the people down. Stand down. Shut up. Sit down. You're not going to blow this thing. I know what I'm doing. This is what I'm telling the people around, because they not used to that. Some of the people I know, I stopped being around that time because they wouldn't put up with it. You know, okay. So, information included that suspect, nobody called me, I'm a suspect, had been making threats to RP on YouTube video, and the secondhand information placed Reams in the masjid at the moment. Further information said that the suspect is known to have guns. Good God Almighty. Now this is another report, you know, like you get the arrest reports, you get the discovery, you get all of that, and that's what this is. And I have other stuff from the transcripts of a trial that I had. By the way, all this stuff I beat in court 2 years ago. Can you imagine? But I was rearrested sometime. Anyway, let me just, YouTube secondhand information, place Reams in the masjid. Further information said the suspect is known to have guns, has 2 shotguns, in his vehicle and drove from D.C. to Oakland. Good God Almighty. So every time there's an arrest, they tell the police, or the police tell them to tell them that I'm armed. With this right here, they could shoot me anytime they want. And they can show the record that they have. Why, Clarence Reams has been arrested. He is arrested there. They're not going to show nothing about drug treatment programs in South Africa and, giving programs for little children in Sri Lanka. They're not going to show that. When officers arrived, they contacted reporting party, Sequila Mujahid, wife of victim. Boy, they the victims. And I'm whatever they call me up here. She informed officers that Reams had been threatening her via social media, that Reams was founder of the masjid, but that had been voted out on January 22. Now, by the board of directors. Now, I want you to get a picture of, here's the federal stuff, state stuff. Now remember, everything is in my name. This 2016, I had them send, this is from the Internal Revenue, care of Masjid al-Islam Incorporated, care of Clarence Reams. And I had them send it here, 4603 Benning Road, has a federal tax number, and is sent to me. This is the highest thing that you can get is from the Treasury Department. Because even if, when you get your papers incorporated with your state number, you have to also get the federal number to go with it, the tax ID number. So I got all the stuff. Everything is in my name. Corporation papers, the state of California. On the back, Clarence Reams, 1981. Okay. This one from the federal government, I got the federal tax number way back then, but I wanted something with a newish date on it. So I had them send me the tax number from the U.S. from the IRS. You don't get no bigger than that. If the IRS okay it, then you okay it. It don't mean nothing to the Oakland Police Department, though. They drive right past everything. So anyway, let me speed up a little bit. Y'all remember Abdul Alim, my grandson, was supposedly killed on March 23rd, 2013. Of course, it says that he was found at 6:15 or 6:20. Yeah, here. This is one. The other one says the exact time. Terrell Reams, police identified fatal shooting victim found in East Oakland. And Khadijah and Mukhtar, this is the 23rd, same time, same. But when I got here from Oakland, I got here on the night of the 22nd, let's say 12:30 U.S. air, then D.C., 10:15 p.m., then the Metro, $5. I keep a record of what I'm doing. And then I came and went to sleep after a while. But I was woken up by Sister Bahia calling me from upstairs. Y'all remember, all this is on the phone record. at about 2:10, 2:08, 2:08, 2:09 a.m. our time on the 23rd. But it's early in the morning. But it's late out there. So they called me, then she called me, then I called her back or something. And then I did a quick research. I found out that no, ain't nobody found my grandson dead. Now it has the time that I called. How could Mukhtar and Khadijah know that my grandson had been killed at, let's say 2 o'clock DC time, and they didn't find his body till 6:15 or 6:20 Oakland time? It's a big difference in time. AM. Remember, I'm talking to them at 11 o'clock daytime. They calling me at 11 o'clock daytime. It's still the 22nd. And everybody knows that. The police have never questioned them about that. They've never questioned them. Yeah. Here was the time. It says it was the third homicide in Oakland in 2 days. About 6:20 a.m. Monday, Terrell Reeves was killed. How would they know? This stuff is so ridiculous that it's ridiculous. Can you imagine? What is this? The undersigned being sworn says on information that Clarence Reeves did in the county of Alameda, state of California, on or about November 17, 2017, commit a misdemeanor. I'm not going to read all the police reports, but believe me, I have every police report. I have ordered from the court all the discovery, and those cases I beat. This is a verdict from the jury. Not guilty. That's April 19, 2018. Not guilty. Yet this last year, 2019, when I went out there, I got arrested 4 times at the masjid. And it's all just spooky wooky stuff. I got other evidence to show that I couldn't have even been there in one of the arrests when they said, because I got, your phone. I had to go out to San Jose. That's about an hour from Oakland. I go out to San Jose, and I meet with Big Time Alana, and they have a little check for me, and they have this, that, and other. But when I got up to the door, it's one of them big shot places. So I couldn't get in the front door. So I called him. And then I talked to him, and he said, da, 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 da. Then actually I called him again. So your phone has a locator on it. So if I called him if I left at 2:15, say I called him at 2 o'clock or something like that. If I leave at around 2:15 and drive back to Oakland, and I stop to buy gas, because I have a gas receipt, and it says 318 or something like that. You know the way they come off. I keep all this, everything. If I cross a bridge, I keep it. For this reason, in case they set me up on something, they got to be very, very careful, because I got something printed from them. If they say I robbed a store over here, way across town, but I was actually buying something at a store over here, 3 minutes away from that time that they reported, then I just said it couldn't have been me, because I was at the store over here. So I keep, you can see I keep all the stuff. I got boxes of it. For each year, I have all the boxes, every receipt. So when they study and try to do something, which they do all the time, like, I won't get into it, but they take, if we pay our taxes, they might pretend that we lost one. Or if they send out something from the government, Department of Public Works on cleaning up a property, or anything, right? We paid a $3,000 fine not long ago. Why? Because they said we sent you this, that, and another. But of course, they never sent it. So we can't prove they said they sent it, so we just paid it, going about our business. But anyway, here we are. This program was canceled because of death threats. I just wrote this on the wall. I'm out there running, and they way up at the hill. They said, "Yeah, we're gonna do this to you. We're gonna do that." So I just keep on going about my business. You know, I'm a little older, so if they way up that hill, and I'm way down there, and I'm running up my regular trail, I can't run catch them, because number one, age, and number two, the hill. I mean the real hill, not just the little hills in these parks. But anyway, this is another one. Public Records, Police Department. I'm gonna move toward a close, but I wanna make sure you know one thing. All the arrests that we had, I had 4 arrests last year at our property in Oakland. But for trespassing, I still have that case open. Whenever I go back, I'm acting as my own attorney in that case. Because I can't lose it, I already won the case. There's all kind of stuff, probably double jeopardy. It's just, you know, I got all this stuff, it's too much. It's gonna be fun. It is fun for me doing it. I have the deed to the property, and I have a stamp from when they was acting funny. I said I better go down to the city and see if they'd have changed up anything. This was 2014. We got all the stamps on the back, and so same tax, signature. See, they've never been able to change. They couldn't change the deed, because you got to have a sale. They couldn't change this because this is the original filing. But they could go down and submit a new name for board of directors. See, the original board of directors was my brother and sister, older brother and sister. They've passed away. The government knew it, and they knew I hadn't got a new. You don't have to have, you don't have to have that, but I hadn't put a new board of directors. So he went to Sacramento State Capitol and got board of directors. And he said, "We're the board of directors." It has a stamp on it. I have 4 or 5 of them, new ones, because you can get one every day. You can go down there, like he would come down there, and they knew what was going on. I said, "Can I stop him from coming?" So, well, you have to to get a lawyer to tell him to stop coming. Because see, all the things that he would do and say, it would say, I have a new board of directors. They said they had a new meeting, the board of directors. But you know, they forgot the law. The law says technically, if you're going to have a board of directors meeting, you have to post it for 2 weeks. I didn't even know it myself. For 2 weeks, so everybody knows. Like if they're going to do something to property around here, they post up a sign. We're going to have a meeting in 3 weeks downtown. Anybody want? You have to do that if you're an organization like we are. You know, there's so many dumb things. Number one, how can you make up a board of directors anyway? Where's your authority? They don't have no authority. If what they're saying is true, the deacon and his little crew could take the biggest churches in the United States and say, we've had a board of directors meeting, right? They can go down and get the same paper for the church, and he could say, this is my board of directors. What authority, you know? And who are those people? Where are they at now, except him and his wife? Right? Where are they? Where did you get the right to do that? This is the thing. What right do you have? That's what I asked him in court last time. I said, I want you to show me any document that says he has the legal right to do anything that he's doing. They don't have it. They've never had any legal document. They just there to arrest me. Okay, what we're saying to the people, we have put up with this stuff year after year on purpose for this time. We're not going to go through that. I think we put this out. This was on one of our flyers. Public notice, agent provocateurs, OPD, FBI, CIA, and NSA. This is one of the little things that we put out in the public notice. That was for them. That was around 2000. That was right after the arrest in 2000. This is Exhibit A, legal description. The person in California sold our biggest piece of property out there. This is the parcel 1, parcel 2, parcel 3. It's got to be pretty good size. Of course, the government didn't give him the money. They just have him sell it to make me mad. Have we been doing this a while? Demonstration, stand up for justice. Stand up against all these things, state terrorism aimed at Muslims, villainization of Muslims and Islam, anti-terrorism, down with constitutional dictatorship. This was Lafayette Park, guess when? 1999. That's 21 years ago. Good God Almighty. Why is the government mad? Not only because of what you're doing overseas, but Imam Jamil Al-Amin, H. Rap Brown. Who the government hate more than anybody from those days? H. Rap Brown, Imam Jamil Al-Amin. And here we are raising funds for it. But during that same period, demonstration, stand up for justice. Yep. All this stuff, we've been doing it almost all our lives. We was in Algeria with the Panther Party. We was in East Africa with those people who were there. And everybody knows it. Do you know, for you Muslims, any Muslim listen, We demonstrated 4 times in front of Kerry's office. Can you believe that? And we called, what is that, the Muslim, what is that down in Texas? Muslim Legal Fund of America. Imam Meeks, or whatever he called his name. They don't answer our call. Remember we told them to take the Black Lives Matter sign? That's the only thing they did. They took the Black Lives Matter sign out of the office down there. Technically, we didn't care. Here's what I want to tell y'all. We have had the patience, the discipline, and the self-control to put up with all of this foolishness all this time until now. We want you to take this DVD and we want you to either download it and distribute it to everybody, or don't worry, we're going to be there either tonight or tomorrow at every demonstration they have in this region to pass them out. We're going to give them to the press. We're going to say, you want to see some real stuff? Look at this. And they have to look, and first thing they're going to say is, that's not real. Well, we're going to say, we're going to have a table right here in the masjid, right over there, with all of this laid out. Copies, of course, so nobody will break in and take it and run off with it. You wouldn't believe how many times I have to copy everything by the multiples and put them in different places. Why? Because the government keeps my property, hides it, and throws it away. They do what they want. We've had the patience. And now, with y'all waking up, see, y'all gonna get on the bandwagon, inshallah. And we're gonna have, okay, they have CNN, all them people, we're gonna give them the CD. What we just did now, we're gonna say, here, you wanna see something? They can respond or they don't have to respond. We'll have gave it to them. But y'all out there, it's gonna be enough of you out there that we're gonna pass these things out till the demonstrations quit. Long as there's one person coming out, we're gonna go give them a demonstration. I mean, one of these. We're gonna duplicate them now, and we calling this the Me Too movement. It's a joke. You know the white ladies at Me Too, they got raped 50,000 years ago when they was, you see the pictures of them girls, they got raped when they was tenders. And you look at them now, you say, ain't nobody messing with you. But then they showed a picture next to them. I said, oh, okay. Right? It'd be like, man, that was a while back. So all of this is Me Too. Like y'all talking about all the other names, you got to think about, why am I still here? You can call it luck, you could call it destiny, but I'm here so that I would be able to, they can't get away from it because I got all the records. 1, 2, 3. Whatever they say, I got 5 comebacks from Oakland PD. Yeah, this happened, but it was all according to procedure. One thing I know, when I was in the court last time, and my attorney, which I didn't want, was saying, asking questions, they real strictly on that stuff about procedures. Did you follow that procedure? Example, my son had 2 dogs. You know them security dogs, them old tough dogs. He had a couple of them. And now legally, if they're for hunting or something, you can have them Islamically. All you got to do is when you let them go, say Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. So or when you catch the thing that they bring, then you say it. But anyway, so Mukhtar shot the 2 dogs. And then it seemed like the police was testifying for us. It said, well, each dog had 3 holes, bullet holes in them. First it was 2 each. They said, well, what happened? He said, well, Mukhtar was saying, I opened the door and there the dogs was. So, well, did you shut the door? You know, like if you see the dogs, bam, right, tell the truth. No problem, I shut the door. Or at least if they, you gotta run and catch me. I'm, not Mukhtar. They said, what did you do? He said, I took out my gun and I shot him. So I was given the khutbah at the masjid, and they came down and got me and said, after I was serving the food, they said, Mukhtar shot the dogs down there. The other thing about Mukhtar, I got to tell you, Mukhtar is the only man in the United States that visibly grabbed the zakat box and run off with it. He's the only, a lot of people, they might shake the box, try to shake it up. But he visibly, after Jummah, he's the only Negro that ever grabbed a zakat box and ran off with it. And then called me on the phone, said, man, it wasn't nothing in there but $66. I said, well, that's fine. It's insane. So the police said, well, did you find any other bullets around? He says, no, but this was a wire screen. You know them doors that have wire screen on it? Or a screen on it, that thick screen and the bars, the regular door. He said, I looked and there was 2 bullet holes in the screen. So you mean after he shot the dogs and he went out the door, he shot them again? Now you got to imagine a lot of white folks on that jury. They could have said he shot me, but when they said he shot the dogs, and they said, I'm going to turn this off in a minute. They said, Mr. Mukhtar, how did this happen? He says, well, when I went to the masjid, actually it was a school, he said, I went in the drawer and I loaded my gun and I did my rounds. And then the lawyer showed it was near a school. And says, so what kind of religious personality is this? That when he goes inside, the first thing he do is loads his gun and walks through the religious site. Right. Yeah, I mean, that's what he do. He loaded the guns and walked through the religious site. Of course, everybody said that, even the police was saying, man, this guy shot them dogs on purpose, and you know what I mean, and all that. But remember, he trying to drag my sons in. I'm not going to get into I don't want to make this about me. I want to make this about us. In fact, I'm going to stop talking about me. I just want to let you know that everything that you see, everything that you hear about, all of this police brutality, we have put up for it for years. There's your dear brother in front of our building. Another one, I got the deed to that property down the street, and the police put me in the car. Yeah, this was when he shot the dog. Khadijah was going in and out the door, and they didn't have no crime scene tape. I said, y'all can't do this. You're going to destroy the evidence. It seemed like they was trying to make sure they couldn't convict him because they, And he did get He got a fine and probation. That's the same incident. Police. We got many other things. What we want to say is this. We're in a great time. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll close with a letter from Pete O'Neill, Panther in Africa. Brother Musa, a brief note of greetings and an opportunity to express our pride in the work you are doing. Every morning I go for a 4-mile walk. During that time, I use my Walkman. Boy, he got some old stuff over there. You remember the old time Walkman? Good God Almighty. Well, he's older than me, so. To listen to political speeches or historical discussions. As well, I listen to the recordings of your khutbahs. They are very enlightening and informative. I'd be very grateful if you were able to send others. I lost the one where you talk about your experiences in East Africa. Would love to have that again. Yeah. So you could tell that it must have been correct or true what I was saying and the experience. So, was as well, are pleased with our work. We feel we are continuing the work of the Black Panther Party with dignity. Good brother, you are an inspiration for our people. Keep up the good work. Stay well. Pete, please send your email address if you're online. This is kind of old. Yes, it is. But anyway, that lets you know we have all the stuff we're talking about, we have 10 times the experience of what we say. We want to get involved with you in this modern time, and we want to cooperate with you, and we want to share our shared experience. And we want to solve the problems that the system refuses to deal with. There's a simple thing like racism, like it's an unsolvable problem. It's not an unsolvable problem. Amongst the people, and I'll close with this, if you notice the people, I first noticed it at the Black Lives Matter when down at Malcolm X Park. Sakina asked me to go down. It was mostly young high school kids and what have you. And they were, I was shocked because half of the kids was white kids. Right here in D.C. And they were saying stuff like, do they really stop you? You know, like they show video clips of New York, stop and frisk, the broken window syndrome. Do they really treat you guys like that? Do they really do that? And of course, you know, our kids is looking at them like, what planet you come from? And they don't, because they know that they come from that part of Northwest, and they're just not. When we was over there, they was doing it, but now they never experienced this. But now, when these telephones has been magic for black people, because the thing, just like the people didn't rise up in LA to Rodney King, and you saw it. They could have beat him to death. And his word against us, a drunk nigga against us. But they got it on camera. I don't know if y'all notice, I used to always have my camera taking pictures of all this stuff out here. them arrests and stuff. Because if they get in court and they don't know nobody took pictures, they say, well, we did this at 1 o'clock. We did this way and that way. And you have one picture that shows different, right? Anyway, we want to express our cooperation with you, and we say to you that finally we are, like you, tired of this. But why did we do all of this stuff over the last several years, many years? It's because we had to have proof. Undeniable proof. Redundant, so it's over and over and over again. Remember, in Oakland, I'm arrested 8 times. But I'm also taken to the crazy house out there in Oakland. Yeah, y'all from Oakland? You know the John George Center? John George, he used to be a black congressman. And the people are waiting outside of my house. And then I just drive on down behind them. And they stop and they pulled me over. And they said, well, you seem as though you're going to harm yourself. I said, harm yourself? Myself, you must be crazy. So they called the ambulance. They say, you've heard of 5150, of course. That means that's for crazy. And they called me, and the people took my blood pressure and everything. You know the ambulance? It said 275 over something other. I said, y'all is lying. I said, if I had that, I said, my eyes would pop out or something like that. Right? They'd be red, you see veins, you know what I mean? And so they said, no, we're going to take you to see John George. And I said, John George is dead. I know John George. That was a friend of mine. John George was a councilman back in the 60s and early 70s. I said, I know John George. John George is dead. No, we're going to take you to see John George. I didn't even know they had named the crazy house up there. So they took me to the hospital, and then to the crazy house. When I got to the crazy house, I said, first thing, it was an African there doing security. Imam Musa. I said, yes, the brother. So another nurse walked by. I said, ma'am, what church do you go to? I go to Allen Temple. I said, would you call J. Alpha Smith? That's the biggest church in the neighborhood. I mean, in the region probably. I said, would you tell J. Alpha Smith that Miss Ream's boy, that they done arrested him and brought him up here to the crazy house? Because my mother was big in the church, my sisters, big, my whole family, except for me, of course, was big in the church. And anybody pass away in the family, I always give a eulogy and stuff like that. Of course, everybody knows us there, you know. So I said, would you call J. Alfred and tell him that Miss Ream's boy is in, up here? And she called him. And then I was given counseling. First of all, I'm down there, not booking, but you can call it booking. The lady says, now I was getting ready to run. They said, are you homeless? You know, because I had running clothes. I said, homeless? I said, I see you looking in my wallet there. I said, open a little side slit there. I said, what do you see? And they pull out 500 creased dollars, you know, because it's just something you carry in case something happens. I mean, you could tell they've been there for 50 years almost. I said, do you have $500? No. I said, well, you must be crazy. What are you doing? Are you homeless? I was asking her the question she's asking me. I said, you see that Bank of America slip there? A little slip? I said, what does it say available? 49,000 something dollars, you know. Do you have $49,000 available? That means you can go down, you can get that right there and forget about the other part that's, they're gonna clear the checks. Because we had a little money. Now they gave all that money to what's the name them later. That's okay, they gave $100,000 away. There ain't no problem. I'm gonna finish up with this. We put up with all of this and more. This is only 2% of what happened. So that when we go into court, we will be able to express through the process of redundancy over and over again. 8 arrests in the masjid that we have the deed to. Police brutality. We have it on several occasions. Once when they assaulted at Santa Rita, the other times is out of 2 arrests. You know, when you handcuffed behind and they putting you in them little cars back there and you tell them, you know, and maybe you just drove from somewhere and so your knees is kind of, I say, hey man, y'all gotta fix it so I can stick my legs out, because, you know, sitting there like that at that time, you know, not now, but at that time, it was stiff. Well, you see, when I get up, I gotta get up, you know, lean over, and by the time I walk to the door, everything's fine. But they got you, and you're 100 years old, and they got you handcuffed behind, and all of that, which technically there's no reason to do that, you know. And the picture, I don't know if you had a picture where I was arrested before when I didn't have no clothes on except pants. Did you bring that picture or you don't have? Okay, no problem. What I want you to do, and I'll close with this. Are there any questions or comments about anything?
Yeah, well, a brother has said, made a comment. He said, As-Salamu Alaikum, Ya Sheikh. Imam, real life experience is more beneficial than just theoretical reading and suppositions. Thanks for sharing. Love you and family.
Fine, yeah, that's good. That's what I hope everybody, that's the point we wanted to make. And remember, we always talk about timing and all of that. This was the time to bring that out. You can see I ain't in no hurry to go back to Oakland and do nothing, but this was the time. And that's what I was doing this morning. I just said, boy, you said you was a slow man, but you're slow. This is the time. Me too. You know, that's why I'm calling the title of this, Me Too. They're talking about all the police brutality that's been happening. Mine go back beyond 50 years ago. Real live stuff. You know, all this stuff I had, these knots up, they're from the police. All this stuff up here, way up at the top of the head. They're from billy clubs. That's when they used to just beat you upside the head like Rodney King. Now, and I'll close with this. This is what I told the police, and this is what y'all got to remember. I told the police of Santa Rita a couple of years ago, I said, man, now I see why everybody's dying in custody with no marks on them. They done taught them all that modern stuff, pressure points. The police knew he had his knee on his neck, and if he keep it on there a certain time, and that police knew when this guy called for his mama, he was 1 minute away from dying. When he have a bowel movement, that's what you have when you die. Your autonomic muscles relax, and you have a bowel movement. Yes.
One of the things that's coming out are the Israeli tactics.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they can hear us.
Yeah, I gotta get another mic.
Okay, they might, you were saying about the Israeli tactics. The Israelis have been training U.S. police. Some go over there, and they send some over here. They sent them from Baltimore and other places. Yeah, they're using Israeli techniques. That's why this is the time. This is a time for a transition. And if we stick with this, now remember, dear people, we're going to have to stick with this just like we stuck with this year in and year out. Family members being killed, people being almost on their deathbed, shot all these times. And it's not the time. This is the time. This is the same discipline all of us are going to have to deal with these centuries-old problems. We talked about it the other day, that if you have bottled up, built up pressure inside, you have to have a timed or coordinated or organized release. That's what you do. You don't take your pent-up frustration and run out and waste it throwing a rock in a store or just doing some shouting. You focus it like a laser on what part of the system, and you change and improve that part of the system, and you stay vigilant on it. You don't go home and go to sleep. When we won 2 or 3 rights back in the 60s, early 70s, we said, well, that's fine, and they came right back at you. Because remember, they're organized. And they're going to come back at you. And everything they gave you last week, they'll take it right back. Why? Because we have a short memory, and they're systematized. That's why this time we have to change the whole process and the system itself. The Constitution is over 200 years old, and could you drive a 200-year-old car? You don't drive them old wagons down the street they used to use, them old Studebaker wagons. Well, why you think you can run a 2020 or 21st century society on 19th century legal propositions? It's not possible. And that's why people will have learned how to game the system, the whole system. Wall Street, look at today. The stock market went up today with all these demonstrations and all that. If it was any other time, if they can force it to go up under any conditions, they can force it to go down under any conditions whenever they get ready. You and I, we don't have any control over our life right now. The human being feels better about themselves in the relation to how much control they feel they have over their own life. We are living a ridiculous existence under the control of crackpots and ultra-rich. This may be the last go-around to fix it, because all the small businesses will go out of business, probably on this go-around, or most of them. That means the reconcentration of wealth upwards. Remember, ain't nobody down here with me and you getting no more money. All the money is being transferred up to the top. That's what Wall Street was about. It was right. But today, we have to solve the whole thing. Not only police brutality, but reorganization of our whole system. Reorientation of what is the purpose of police officers, even if we want to call them that. We have to recharterize our whole lives to make America the way we want it to be. Not the way Wall Street wants you to be. Those people, the World Bank, not the World Bank, but what's the thing they got right down there? The Federal Reserve. You study your old Constitution. They've been working on making you broke and crazy for a long time. 1913 is when the World Bank come in. What is this thing here? It's an emergency alert. Let me see what this emergency alert is. But anyway, that means what we're saying must be an emergency. Right, look, I'm going to tell you. Huh?
Extending the curfew. They're extending the curfew. Extending the curfew.
They're going to make it more days. That means that there's going to be one at night, maybe tomorrow night.
Yeah, tomorrow night, tonight, tomorrow night, what they said, June 1st, June 2nd. That starts at 7 p.m., is that what it said? Yeah, 7 p.m.
So that means there'll be people down there. We'll go down there in the day and leave at night. We don't argue with nobody. If we can get it fast enough, if I shut up in a hurry, you can do that right now, right?
Yeah, I can start the process.
How long would it take, you think, to get it? 2 hours.
It's about a 2-hour video. It's probably going to take about 2 or 3 hours.
2 or 3 hours. 5 o'clock, we'll do some. I'll tell you what, they're going to be down there in the morning. Ain't no sense us getting all crazy. We'll go down there in the morning. I'll duplicate them all night, inshallah, and we'll go down there. And the last thing I was going to say was, the old order, the people to learn how to game it. Adam Smith's invisible hand is not invisible anymore. It's not even there. The Federal Reserve, read the old Constitution. Congress shall have the right to print money and determine its value. Does anybody remember that? That was the Constitution. They threw that out in the Federal Reserve. And you know, in the old days, it wasn't even no income tax. Yeah, it wasn't no income tax. Your lives are controlled by the system. If you look at the people of America, especially the younger people, they don't seem to have heavy racist tendencies at all. I mean, white kids may sit in this corner in the lunchroom, black ones, but anyway, they don't do that much. They kind of mix up a little bit. Well, if they have their little spot, y'all can have it. From what I see about young people, it's not the young people or the human beings, the old people too, that's not ready for transformation. It's the system itself. The system is racist. As you know, institutional racism. I know you don't believe that there's a police officer in high percentage that they go to work in the morning wanting to shoot somebody. Well, the black people. They do. I've been arrested enough times. I know what I'm talking about. They exist. You don't believe it. Because no human being would want to just shoot another just to kill him, right? That's what you think. You wouldn't want to do it. But they got institutional crackpots. A lot of those police wouldn't do that, what they did. A lot of police, if they saw you you gonna kill them. Hey man, you can't kill the man. You know. In fact, even technically, if you study the police killings of people, you don't find a lot of black police shooting Black kids. I know it's one or two here and there, but it ain't no whole lot. When you see those firing squads, I don't want to get in it because I done made a study out of this, and I don't want to remind myself. The way they approach it is though you're a firing squad. Count the numbers of bullet holes. Abu Lawima, 41. Well, I thought his wallet was a gun. They forgot about it. They don't even play, right? Why? Because they got crews of white boys that want to kill a nigga. They want to do it. They want to do it. You don't have to encourage them to do it. Because those Klan types, they join police departments, number one, for training. Number two, to hold you back and hold you down. They got other white people who have militant groups that are evolving types. They're evolving mean that they're patriot movements and that type that are anti-government. And there's a pinch of racism, but they don't want you to marry their daughter, that type of stuff. But they got some patriots that they really good patriots. Patriots are only people that want America to stick to its original Constitution. They buying more guns than the Ku Klux Klan group. They got it. So maybe they'll balance each other off or something. Anyway, not divide, conquer, and rule. This group of white folks, we don't do that. But anyway, we thank you very much. We want you to contact us. Our number is there. If you have some legal representative that'd like to get worked up, get his hands on something that's really laid out, just tell him it's going to take him some time, because when he come by here, he's going to have a lot of stuff to go through. It's already laid out. It's already ready to go. We thank y'all very much for everything. Let's join together to make America good. You thought I was going to say great, huh? We don't want no great America. We done had enough of America the Great, America the Big, and all that. We want to see America the Good. I bet you, now you work for that, America the Good, and see what you can do. Thank you very much. As-Salamu Alaikum. I didn't mean to talk all that, but this stuff is just, hey man. No, we'll just copy that and give it out. Because this is the time.